evening. Good evening. Happy Friday. I hope everyone had a good Christmas. Welcome to Live with Friday Nights with Candi. Hi, Amanda. Thanks for joining. First thing tonight we're going to do is get some business out of the way, which there is a sale that I got a text message about. It is on the blog. It is on the website. It's a retirement sale. Starts 12 today, 12/26 through 1/4. Buy more and save, it says. Purchase 2 items, get 20% off. Purchase 4 items, receive 30% off. Purchase 6 items, get 40% off. Purchase 8 items, receive 60. And purchase 10 items, receive 70% off. I do have the link. I will post that. Hello, Luann. There is the link to the retirement sale for the items that are in there. So if you want to do some shopping after the live, there you go. Not 100% sure if a couple things I might use might be in there. I didn't check it all out tonight, but we're going to use some of the subscription products. Hi, Brandon. Just want to make sure I could hear myself. There we go. All right, let's switch down to my down camera. Maybe. There we go. So I have the inspiration box. Hi, Miss Penny. This is the inspiration box. We've got that pulled. I pulled some waffle cone, cardstock, and a couple other things. So we're going to see what we can get done with here today. Hi, Miss Kate. I thought maybe we'd start with the quilted keepsakes paper. That is in the box. This is available separately. I did link the whole shebang in the description box below. You can use that link if you want to go to the website and make any purchases. You don't have to stay on that page, but if you do use my link down below, it is an affiliate link, which just means I get a small commission if you place an order using that link. Hi, Mama. The quilted keepsakes paper pad matches with sunflower, beanstalk, mortar, ultramarine, and honeycrisp. I think I have all of these cardstocks, so we might be able to use one of those tonight too. But I also grabbed the waffle cone because I thought that would be a fun play on some of the colors. But let's just start. We're just going to make some cards tonight using what we can. I really like the idea of, well, actually, I thought maybe just a very simple card to start. And I'm just going to go through and choose one of these more graphic patterns. And I think I'm going to use this one because I wanted to say that, you may have this in your stash. This is the Pierced Flower A2 panel. It is still available. I just checked. The Holly is the other one that's available still. But I was just thinking this reminds me a lot of, other than, of course, the holes, quilting on a card or on a quilt. So, once they do all the seaming and stuff, like my mom, who's a quilter, will take it to the quilt shop and they will quilt a pattern in it. And I thought it would be fun to do this. So that would be kind of a fun card. Hi, Susan. Yes. Happy Friday and retirement sale. So let's cut this down first. I'm going to go ahead and cut it down to 5 or 4 1/4, or actually I'm going to do 4 1/2. I'm going to do it a little bit bigger by 5 1/2 by 5 3/4. So it's a little bigger than A2 size, but that's just so that in case I get my little pattern cattywampus, it can cut. So this is a full A2 card panel, but if you notice, there's no cutting edge. So this will just cut into the design. It is a fun paper pack with happy colors. And I mean, even this one's even fun too. But I want to use this one, I think, today. We'll see what it looks like. And I'll flip it over. So we're going to use this. Now, it's been a while since I've done this. So I don't know if I remember my sandwich. So I'm going to grab my platinum, because this would be a very easy way to make a background for a card. And then you just need like a focal point and a sentiment, and you are done. All right, so I've got my platinum. I got a base. I am going to do it first by putting it in and cutting it. And then I'm going to emboss it a little bit. So I'm going to try just a plate and see if that is enough. Let's make sure it's kind of nice and straight. Maybe I better put a piece of tape on here. But I thought about this because there are a lot of pierce plates out on the market. I know we have just these couple, and there's other cover plates that just make piercings. Let's see if this is the right sandwich. Feels like it. This would be fun, you know, or over the years, maybe you've bought some pierce plates or cover plates that don't necessarily cut a hole in your paper. I know like Pink Fresh has some, Alta New has some, but I'm not, see, look at, I'm going to pull that real close. See that pattern in there? So this is almost like it's quilted in there. I mean, yeah, there's the holes too. And I mean, you're not going to necessarily have the holes in the quilting, but we can put a color behind it and make it look like it's supposed to be. It fell off before I could keep it in there. But because I was going to say you could also, let me see if I can, I don't know if I can put this back on the plate the way it needs to be. Let's see. I think it was in this one. There we go. It snaps right back into place. So now what I'm going to do is we're going to take our plate, this plate out, and I'm going to put my embossing mat in, and then I'm going to just set this back down on top. And then I have, for my machine, I have an adapter plate for use when you emboss. I'm going to see if that's the right sandwich. Okay, I feel like I need a shim, so I'm going to put a shim in here too. Just going to use the plastic, this F shim that comes with my Platinum 6. Give me just a little bit. There's a little bit more pressure. I promise I'm not going to do a bunch of this, but I thought that I would show you at least one. And what this does is after cutting it, if you use your emboss, it pushes the pattern in a little bit more. So like here you can see the pattern raised. So you could actually use either side. And it, like I said, it makes it look like it's the stitching in the quilt. And as my mom says, it does. My mom should know because she quilts. So let's put that off to the side because that's the only one I'm going to do tonight. But I just want to, you know, if you have been purchased from Burgess Monroe before, we had this one. So maybe go through your stash. We had a snowflake one. And then there's a few other ones out on the market that would work too. That you just need something that's not going to cut per se. Okay. It just is like a pierce plate is what it is. I mean, I know there are other companies out there. This one's really fun because it has the flower pattern. And I think that that's very unique because a lot of them have a bunch of small, intricate and close knit patterns. And this one has that big wide one. And then it also has that little easy, so you know where to cut it out. Let me go ahead and just cut this, trim this down. And I'm just going to eyeball it and trim it right where that is. 4 1/4. I'm going to move it over just a hair because I can see where that piercing is. So it looks like it's on purpose. And it's hard to see on camera, I'm sure. But I can see it, especially if I kind of look at an angle and go down. I'm just kind of leaning back in my chair a little bit because of the shininess of the paper. And I thought this would be, hi, Kate, or hi, Karen, sorry. I saw that. We've had a Kate, we had a Karen, I think Susan, you know, if I did not say hello, I'm sorry. I hope you guys all had a great Christmas. For those of you who celebrated Christmas. I know, I think today is today's the start of Kwanzaa. For those who celebrate Kwanzaa, I know, like, I don't know, are we into a couple days of Hanukkah yet? I'm not very versed with that. So you could just put this right on a white sheet and you'd have all those white little holes behind there. And then, I mean, and look how cutting it down gives you that perfect little white border, which is very nice because that means it would all tie together. This would be like the seam, the basting. Is that? I'm not exactly sure what that a technical term is that for that, Mom, if that's right. But the edging. So I think I'm going to leave this the way it is instead of put it behind a piece of paper. Like I'll just grab a piece here of paper so I can show you whatever I have handy. This is some green cardstock. Oops, that's not a big enough piece. So just for example, if you wanted to have it behind, you could do that and you could see the green behind. But I'm going to use the white because I like that. Hi, Stacy. I did have a good Christmas. You look like you were very busy down there at Scrapmania, putting up some new shelving. I need to, when the weather turns nice, I need to come down and visit and peruse and spend some money in your store. We're on the downward trend. All right, I got to stand up for just a minute because I'm going to put this down. Another nice thing about this cover plate that we cut out, border, binding. Binding's the word I was thinking of. Thank you. Border, binding. Is that it can work like this and it can work like this. So, I mean, you've got a great, okay, the 14th to the 22nd. Thank you, Penny. I know that it started before Christmas, but I couldn't remember exactly which day. I mean, my days have been running together, to be honest with you. And I mean, like, see, look at that fun stitch detail in there. So then all we need is a sentiment and a stamp, and you'd have a great card. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it this way. And I stamped out a couple images. This is the image from the Stitched with Love. And then we just need a sentiment. I know we've had a great weather. You're right. The weather has been, well, my alley has been completely covered in ice. Well, it's different melting, I should say, now, but it was solid ice for a while there. And I'm so glad we've had this nice weather to melt it all. And I mean, I can drive through and not slip and slide. So we've got all sorts of fun sayings. Tiny stitches are big love sewn together by friendship. Just keep stitching. I love you to pieces. You've got me wrapped around your thimble, wrapped in love. I think I'm going to do this sewn together by friendship one. Hi, Miss Lisa. How are you? I've seen some of your samples. I just haven't had a chance to comment. Oh my gosh, are they adorable? I got to get them up in the store. I will maybe try to do that this weekend. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a piece of Perfect Blend paper. Lisa has the most adorable samples with the Theodore set. The Theodore sets for this release, and maybe if I remember tonight after we get offline, I can get them posted in the store. I just have been a busy couple of days for me since she had them uploaded. Hi, Cordelia. How are you? I'm going to go ahead and stamp on this sentiment strip. We're going to stamp this sewn together by friendship because, you know, this is a quilt and we're sewn together. Now, before we went live, I actually went in and I re-inked this. So hopefully we don't create a big mess because I was finding I was really stamping my stamps over and over and over again. And it was soaking up the ink like there was no tomorrow. So, oh, wow, it looks like I re-inked this perfectly. So I'm trying to be very careful. Oh, yes, he is so cute. Oh, Cordelia, I'm sorry. I know Lisa does the best coloring. I want to be like Lisa when I grow up. I'm sure she was taught by the best too. Somebody we all know, right? Cordelia, if you take something or another, watch 2 crafty videos and call me in the morning and hopefully you'll feel better. Because it's not fun to be sick, especially this time of year around the holidays. Because there's, you sleep and you miss out on the fun shows. And if they're live. Oh, you're welcome, Lisa. So I've got this sewn together by friendship, which I think is so cute. And then I'm going to go ahead and use this, and we're just going to color it up quick. Okay. So I stamped it on Perfect Blend, And it's a lighter color because my Raven ink was needing to be re-inked, but we're just going to color it real quick. I'm super excited because I saw on, and I cannot tell you right now off the top of my head, on Stamp Junkies. Look at what I got, you guys. This was what I bought myself for Christmas. Well, Tom gave me for Christmas. I'm so excited. It's from Etsy. I don't remember the name of the store, MB Designs or something like that. It was on Stamp Junkies, and I had to order it because my markers are everywhere, and it's so nice to have that. I have these great containers as well, from Blue Sparkle, but I love these for travel, but I love my Lazy Susan for my desk. Yeah, it is. And I just got a new blending brush stand ordered from Make It by Marco. It's been on my list for a long time, but now that I actually have a desk where it will work, and I had to order that today. So that will be coming so that I can actually empty out one of my bins that has, that I have a bin right over here that I've had for a long time, but it's too big for my desk. So I needed something for my blending brushes. And then that way, it's stuff I need, but it's nothing I need that close. I can move it over here somewhere. So I'm hoping after the New Year's Day is my last day to hopefully I'm going to finish kind of moving some things around in my room. And then I can do a video of my storage in my room because I know some people have been asking. I'm just going to go in here with, this is B4.7 Olo marker. And I'm just going to do a little bit of coloring, and then I'm going to grab the next shade down. Just add a little bit darker thread here and there just to give some variety. Doesn't have to be perfect. Kind of looking where maybe the darker lines are in my stamp image to give my coloring. And then I'm just going to go ahead and go down 1 to the 4.6. Now, if you haven't used Olo markers, I'm not an expert with Olos. Oh, see, that looks a lot like the same color. Let's see. We're going to blend that out a little. Oh, it's not too bad. There we go. Once we get it going here a little bit. It's hard to, like with Copics, a lot of times you could kind of compare them next to each other. And this one, they look fairly close, or they look very far apart. So a lot of times, until you get to know your markers, use a little piece of paper on the side. There are 2 foam board marker storage units. They fit perfectly. Oh, that's perfect, Cordelia. I wanted mine on my desk. Otherwise, I would have mine in my Kallax unit too. Hi, Miss Pam. How are you? I thought about it, but I want them on my desk so that I can put other things. I have a couple. Excuse me. I still have 2 right here to the left here. 2 of my Kallax units that don't have the perfect storage set up yet. It's the one that's the closest to my shoulder. And that is for, I have my Misty in there and a couple other things. And it's kind of a mess right now. I haven't quite figured out that storage yet. I'm on the fence about maybe ordering a couple of the individual shelves for my Kallax unit to put in there so that I can put things up and below instead of just kind of piling on. And then I have these plastic things in there that I'm not really loving. So we'll see. I just bought them from one of the Crafty Box stores a long time ago, and it was storing my what I want to call them, my little my ink cubes, but I wanted to get some of the things. I did have a good Christmas. I hope you did too. Nice, and it was a nice, quiet Christmas. My Vikings won, which was awesome. I mean, I like the Lions too, but of course I want my Vikings to win if I can get them to win. And it was such a crazy game with the turnovers and, you know, like no passing yards, but yet we still won. It was just what? So I'm just kind of plucking colors, which just means I'm just grabbing colors off, and I'm doing more of a vintage wooden spool just because that's what I want. And there we go. We just got a quick little image here. Yes, we have to, finding storage that actually works with us for a change is absolutely right. All right, so we've got that, and we've got our sentiment, which I lost. Here it is. So we've got our sewn together by friendship. And I think I'm going to put it down over here, and then I'm going to pop this up right up on top. And we got our first little card. So I did get my entire 12 days of Christmas advent calendar. Well, there's 13 days. There was 13 gifts per se, I guess, they're real 13 bags. They're all uploaded on my YouTube channel. So if you wanted to, I got them done. I had a couple that came in kind of late the day of, but I did get them up. And I had a lot of fun. I did order the Valentine's box, which is on the event page. So I'm excited to do that one as well. I don't know for so much if I'm going to say they're going to be Valentine's Day cards as much as cards you can give people that you really care about. Because, I don't need 14 Valentine's Day. I mean, I could give Tom a card every single day, but you know what I mean. They can't all say Happy Valentine's Day. So I will work with that to show you how you can use them for friends and family as well. All right, so I'm just going to pop up this little spool and thread if I can get that paper off. So Cordelia, the storage thing has been something I was struggling with. I was struggle bus with that one because I could not find the right containers that I wanted to fit in my calyx units so that I could have two units to fit my stamps. I'm just going to set that down right there, and there we go. We've got card number 1. Very fun. I love it. But I finally found these. They're for a closet. They're a closet bin. And they're cloth, and they actually fit. I can fit 2 rows of the small stamps, or I can fit long, my 6x8s long, and they worked really well. I mean, without spending a ton of money. I mean, because you could get the fridge bins, but they're not the cheapest. So I am going to pull one of these patterns here. We're going to pull this one, okay? And I'm going to pull this one because I've got that stitching in there that's kind of dark. And then the other thing we're going to grab here is these are the panels. We can get these separately. They are actually called Mosaic Quilt. They're foilable card panels. I'm not going to foil them tonight. I'm going to use it black and white as a contrast. And so I'm just going to go through and grab one of these, and I'm thinking I'm just going to grab this one. I love the hearts. And we're going to use part of this as our plan. Now, one thing you could do is if you were going to cut this down, let's say with a die so that you got the inside piece, find a stitched die, and that stitched edge, like a stitch rectangle or something would be very fun because that would add to your theme of stitching. I'm just going to cut it down some. And you guys know me. I am very, very much embracing just go for it kind of thing. So we're 6 inches. I'm going to go ahead and cut this down right at 3. And then I'm going to cut it down to a little, let's see where we're going to be at. We're going to cut this one down to 5 1/4 for sure, like that. So we still have our stitched edge. And then we've got this, which is some fun black and white pattern. And I think I want just a little bit of that black and white to show. And so now that I'm looking at this, I think I'm going to trim just another little 1/4 of an inch off. So that when I go to put this down, I can cover that up and it kind of, you know, you can do it any way you want, of course. And we've got a lot of this panel showing. Or if we want to go on this side, or, you know, you could do it right down the middle. Okay. But I think what I'm going to do is we're going to trim it down because I'm going to try to use the white. So 5 1/4 by 4. And I'm going to trim a little bit off each side. So that way I don't have a part of a pattern and a tiny bit of a pattern. So that way I kind of even out that pattern. It's a little more pleasing to the eye this way. And then I think to break that up just a little bit now, I think, yeah, we're going to have to trim this down a little bit more. I had to trim a little bit off the bottom on each side. So we're going to 5 inches now. There. We're going to layer this on some white cardstock. Now I'm just going to grab some cardstock scraps. I have a few pieces here on my desk. I don't even know what paper this is, but I'm going to layer this on here for some interest, or, you know, for some breakup of that pattern, but I think we might ink blend it too. So this is at 2 3/4 by 5. So let's go to 5 1/8 roughly. And I say that because I'm on the 8th mark, I believe. It's kind of, you know, when there's no line straight up the middle, I have to like think that that's what I think I'm doing. And then 2 7/8. And then we'll see what that looks like. Perfect. And then we've got our card panel. See how that breaks that up? And then I'm going to go ahead and grab a card base just to show you. But I'm also thinking that maybe we might change this up. Oops, sorry. Yeah, this way. Because there's an awful lot of white. So I'm thinking we need a pop of color. And instead of adding more card panels to this, let's go ahead and do some ink blending or direct to paper. It's up to you. I'm going to do some ink blending, I think. And I'm going to go ahead and just pluck. I'm going to pluck. Loch Ness is a fun color. I've been playing a lot with this Loch Ness and Tropical Tango together. They've been a lot of fun. But I'm going to just use the Loch Ness tonight, right now, for a punch. It is a dark color. And I'm just going to ink blend right on my mat here. This looked like it had some Tropical Tango or Loch Ness on it. So, does anyone have any fun weekend plans? After the pup and I walk tomorrow, I'm hoping to get into my craft room and have some more fun. There's so much I want to play with. You know, I'm actually not ready to give up making Christmas cards yet, but I don't need any. But I did send some Christmas cards out this year, you guys. I was really excited. I received so far 2 in the mail, and which is, you know, I haven't sent Christmas cards in a long time. So to receive more than 2 receive 2 has been a nice. And so I sent to some people that email or sent me some, and then I sent a few others out. See, look at this fun. Isn't that fun? Just a little extra fun color. And I'm not going to go super dark. We're just going to do, and then I am going to clean up my desk here quick with some squeaky clean, because the other one we're going to have is our card base. Where is my cloth? Anybody see my cloth? Here we go. Now I said subscription products, so we're only at 7:30. I plan on using the stencil of the month and the embossing powder yet too. So hopefully my desk is clean. You cleaned your craft room today. I heard there were some ice storms happening in Michigan. That, Jamie, actually, there is a gentleman in my office that was in Michigan, and I don't know when he was coming home. Because I don't think he was coming back in in my office building, I should say. I think he was there till tomorrow, maybe. So hopefully he can get out of there. All right, I'm going to be very careful. I'm going to go around the edges here. I don't want an ice storm, but the nice positive thing about an ice storm is that I would have to stay home. I love my job though, so that's not, it's not that. I just gives me an excuse to craft. Yeah, Pam, I heard it, and I think I saw Sarah Scraps was talking about that too today. So we had rain. We've had rain, you guys. All right, we're gonna wash this off again because we got to flip this around. So I thought for sure. I know Christmas Eve, Tom said there was a little black ice on the road. He said there was a really icy spot on the road because it was right around freezing, but we fortunately didn't have a lot. So, and it just kind of rained. All right. I really want to use that mosaic A2 stencil tonight, but it's not part of the subscription. So I may have to wait and save that for another day. So I have lots of anyone doing New Year's resolutions. I actually have one this year, and that is to do more. Yeah, it is the worst. Do more. I might leave that out. Videos on my channel, and I have the idea to at least do 1 or 2 a month using things from my stash. Whether they're available or not, it doesn't matter. Just diving in and using them up. Start using some stuff. Ooh, that smells good. This was from the anniversary party. It's called Ski Lodge. I'm not sure if I could describe what that smells like, but it smells good. Okay. So there's our card base. And then we've got this beautiful panel to kind of put on top with the black and white. And then we can do this. And then that ties all of that together. Now you could do it on either side. Now the other fun thing we could do is we could color in the hearts. But I kind of think I want to leave them alone. And I'm thinking I'm going to want to do this way because I think that stitching needs to stay up at the top. So we're going to put this part together and then we'll come up with what we're going to do. I like the idea of the hearts. You could color in just the hearts on the background if you wanted to. And then using the thimble, there's a sentiment in this, just like you've got me wrapped around your thimble or the thimble or something like that. And it'd be really cute for your loved one. All right, eyeball that on there. There's something kind of though about black and white that I've always enjoyed. I have this black and white paper pad that I think I've had for a very, very long time. That is a very basic, like checks and dots. And I think I've only cut into it once, and that needs to change. So that's part of my New Year's resolution is to start using up some more of my stash, in particular my paper. And then making sure that some of my stamps have seen ink. I'm just eyeballing this to try to get it as centered as I can. Okay, so we're going to do that. Then I think we need some sort of big thing here, and I'm thinking we're going to do another piece of paper from the paper pad. We're going to choose another one. Oh, thank you, Cordelia. I am, like I said, I try not to overthink too much. I'm going to move it over just a little bit so you can see those hearts. Just a little bit. I try to just choose a color and go for it, because otherwise I think sometimes we overthink our color choices. Like just go with one and go. And I really have been liking, like I said, the Loch Ness has been one of my favorite colors so far this year. So let's go through here. I'm thinking we almost need another pop of color, but I don't know if I want to do that or not. So I'm just kind of going through and looking. I think what I'm going to do is we're going to stamp out our sentiment and heat emboss over it, or our image. That's what we'll do. We'll heat emboss over our image. How does that sound? All right. And I think we're going to go through and we're going to use this button blue, because this is kind of, I think Jess told me it was kind of like a veil. So what we will do, and I'll tell you, a veil is kind of like a translucent, I don't know if that's the right word. Okay. Anyway, you can kind of see the color underneath. So let's find my stamp. Oh, I don't want to use that Misty. I have that one all set up for something else that I was thinking of doing, which we will do next. All right. I'm going to pull my sentiment. And let's find, it is the same image, but it's a smaller version. So I am going to use, this is the stamp of the month, the Stitched Joy. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp that out right smack dab in the center. And I'm going to also stamp out the sentiment. I'm just going to kind of try to make sure they're kind of straight, which says stitching joy into your day. Let's just see how that looks. It looks pretty close. All right, we'll do some anti-static powder tool all over. Now we could do the black, but I think for fun, I'm going to go ahead and try this Loch Ness. And you guys know me, you know that you can heat emboss with the Simon Hurley Stellar inks. I mean, you can pretty much heat emboss with any inks, but I like to do the Simon Hurley inks because I like to do the icicle over the top. But instead, we're going to go ahead and grab that. And I've got my button blue. Hopefully I have a piece of scratch paper around here somewhere. I don't, do I? Okay. I have my little sheet of paper from the release. I'm going to go ahead and put that on here and just cover that up. Okay. That will work. I print it out when I'm working on getting my order together, and when I'm learning the whole release, so I can let you guys know what the things are. Tap that off to the side. Tap it down just a little bit more because there is a little loose. This one has a little bit of glitter in it. You can see that's what those little specks are. So I'm going to grab a paintbrush. So the specks on here are like the glitter, and that's going to be the extra fun. I'm just going to try to brush off as many of those as I can so they're not, there's one or two, it's fine. There's one right here, so wish me luck. There, got it. There's one down here. All right. So let's heat set that. Oh, there's one more. Right there. Got it. Okay. Let's heat set that. Are you ready? So this has some glitter in it, so I like to go from behind because that helps keep the glitter from flying off. Because sometimes when you heat emboss, you'll see the glitter fly off. You know, or you think that you're losing the embossing powder, but a lot of times it's like the glitter or the extra that's not stuck. And I try to just go under, and then I can go from the top. And then I will bring it up and see, you can, when I say veil, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Hopefully you can. If you can see that it looks the same color as the ink, but when you turn it in the light, just a barely, you can catch blue. Now I can see it in person. I'm not sure you can see that on camera as much, but I do have it swatched out here. If I can find the right swatch. So here it is. This is what it looks like on the white. And here's what it looks like on the darker colors. So you can kind of see there's that little bit of blue in there. And then yet it's still, you can still kind of see through it too. You're having Christmas tomorrow, your youngest. So, oh, that'll be fun. I did that too. When I had a job where I had to work for holidays, I chose to work like Christmas morning because I figured I didn't have little ones. I am going to quick go through my stash here of dies and find I thought I had some oval dies with stitching here somewhere. I might not. I have like the Lawn Fun stitching dies. Okay, I'm just going to use this one. Cut that out. It's very nice when you have people who will do that, because I thought, I don't need to stay home on Christmas morning. I'm going to go ahead and let's see. Yep, we're going to use this one. So this is from the Elegant Eggs. I don't know if this is still in stock, but at least it still is. It was a die of the month at one time, so some of you may have it. Let's grab our Platinum 6. And get this all ready to go. One of these days, I'm going to go ahead and get a lawnmower, and then I will be able to just a lawnmower type one, and then I can just zip it through, but I'm not ready for that yet. I could just turn around and let it die cut out, and talk to you guys at the same time. But right now, I've been keeping my die cut machine across the room. Hold on one second. Did I hit something, or is that you, Penny? Oh, thank you, Penny. I didn't know for sure if it was still in stock. I didn't look because I was trying to decide what to do tonight for dies, and I like to use basic dies because a lot of us have the basic dies. You might not have this, but you'd have an oval. And so you could still do this. Okay, so here's that. Let's grab our card. And so you could leave it white, but I think we need to add a little color to it. So we're just going to grab our blending brush, and we're just going to go around the edge and add just a little bit of that Loch Ness to the very edge. I'm not going to add any other ink to my brush. Just use whatever's left over just to give it kind of like a halo effect. And that's going to give it just enough to make it not so white. Okay, so there's a few left in stock. She said not quite at SOS status. So if you would like an Elegant Eggs, it's a fun die. It has all of these fun pieces you can layer and you can cut. So like this piece can cut just, it will just cut out the whole shape with this design in it, or you could use that old die and cut out to frame. Same thing with this one, and you can layer them. See, I don't know if you can see that picture. See that? Isn't that fun? So there are a few left in stock, Penny said. All right, let's glue this down. And then we're going to grab the stencil of the month. Because I said I was going to use that waffle cone paper because I am falling in love with waffle cone. All right. So stitching joy into your day. Now you could totally center it, but I'm going to off center it just a little bit. And you could probably put a little piece of paper underneath there so it's all one level, but it's close enough for me. But there we go. So there's card number 2. All right, we got 15 minutes yet, so let's keep going. I'm going to go ahead and grab a piece of this waffle cone. And I'm just going to use whatever piece this, nope, yes. Nope, because that one has a cut in it. I had a little problem with my Cricut earlier. It tried to eat my paper. So let's cut this down to an A2 card size because I always go to A2 first and then trim after. That is just my preference. I am going to grab the stencil of the month, which is called Rustic Pattern. I'm not going to use any pixie spray because I don't think I need to. And we're just going to set it up kind of in here. So what I'm going to do is grab, I have a tape runner here. Grab this tape runner. We're going to just put a little piece of tape down. I like to ink blend at an angle. And then I'm going to get a piece of washi. That washi doesn't work as well as some of my other. Let's see if I have pink mint tape or something here. The washi tape that I use for my die cutting is very thin, so it doesn't like to stick to things like glass. So we're just going to go ahead and I'm going to just tape it down up there. And I'll tape a couple pieces over here. Now, what I did not do is I did not do any anti-static powder tool on this. I'm okay with that. I just lined this up in the corner kind of as best as I can so it's straight. And we're going to go ahead and do that ink color that I was talking about, this Tropical Tango and Loch Ness. Now, I've never done this on waffle cone yet, so we'll see what it looks like. We're going to start with the the Loch Ness because that's the blending brush I have out. And we're just going to go ahead and blend it all over. Now, if you wanted a really, really dark, and I'm sorry, I'm kind of wiggling my camera here. If you wanted a really, really dark color, you probably could go with a dauber, you know, the Ranger daubers. That's when I usually get, like, let's see, do I have one here? I do have one here. This one I think had stuff on it, but I have one here. I do like the dome. I don't know if I have any of those. Let's see. Here, I have a dome one. Let's try it. I'll show you what I mean. I like blending brushes, but when I want deep, deep color, I really like, and this is going to take a minute for it to load up because it's brand new. Because I didn't have one for Loch Ness. But look at the difference that I get in just that little bit of pass. See the difference between up here? And I love the dome ones for when I want really saturated color. So I'm just going to kind of go a little bit here and there, maybe a little in the corner, because we're going to use some of that other color. All right, where's my magnet? Let's put that down here too. All right, Tropical Tango. Now my Loch Ness. I'm going to see if I have another tool close and handy. I do. Pull off one of my domes and grab another dome. I prefer the dome to the flat because I don't get as much, I'm a lot easier and I don't get harsh lines. So I'm going to go ahead and go back over. Now you're not going to see the blends as easily, like the color that I'm talking about. I mean, I don't know for sure, but when you see this on white, it's beautiful. Hi, Miss Jerry. Thank you for catching me live. That's awesome. I'm glad you're here. We're working on card number 3, and I'm on an aggressive blender, so it shakes my camera. So I apologize for that, but if you get seasick, just look away for a few minutes while I aggressively blend. I'm almost done. And then we will move on to the next part. All right, let's add a little bit more of that Loch Ness just to kind of, I will tell you, this is a combo that I think is perfect for masculine cards. All right. Look at those two pretty colors. Aren't those pretty? All right, let's move this off to the side. And we're ready for the reveal. 1, 2, 3. Woohoo! Look at how pretty that is. Now I got a little spot right there. It looks like where I moved. And then I'm just going to wipe my finger off for that tape. So let's grab our little eraser here. Just do a little. That's perfect. And then my fingers are, of course, super wet. So I'm going to go ahead and spray them off camera here and just wipe them real good. Yes, I'm much of an aggressive blender, especially when I am trying to get deep, dark color. And these two colors together are just something, I don't know. They are like my favorite color combination. I'm going to see if I can get that up closer. So you've got the Tropical Tango, and here's where it blends to kind of together. And then we've got that Loch Ness. It's just very pretty. So now, where is that scratch paper that I had? Here it is. I'm going to tear a little piece off the bottom that I have some notes on that we don't need to be reading or showing, because I wrote some stuff down someday when I was working. What kind of eraser is it? It is a mono sand eraser. It's nothing fancy from Tombow. You can get it in multiple different places. I think you get 2 of them. I've had this forever. I mean, I've had this for years, so I don't even know how long ago it is. I'm going to go ahead and put this embossing powder. Like I said, it's like Jess said, it's kind of like a veil, which is kind of like means you know what a veil is. You can see through it a little bit. It's translucent. Is that the right word? All right, I'm going to okay, now I've got a couple spots in there but I'm not going to worry about it because it does never bother me unless I'm doing uncolored or like black. I don't really ever worry about a little bit of over. Just kind of, and sometimes you need to let it sit for just a second. Oh, you're welcome, Jerry. And then just kind of tap it gently. I'm not one of those people that does a lot of flicking with my fingers because I find when I do that, I tend to flick a lot of the powder off. All right. I'm just going to take that to my garbage can, shake off the extra, and then I am going to grab very quickly. I've been keeping in a coffee cup over behind me. I have a crafty coffee cup that I won somewhere or got as a gift somewhere. And I keep instead of drinking out of it, because I don't need any more coffee cups, I use it as my holder for my Swiffers. All right, are we ready? Once again, I'm going to heat this from behind. Yep, Gina K, Scrapbook. Yep, I figured they do. A lot of the products too that I have, my older products, you can also get from Scrapmania, and she has an online store as well. She ships. Especially a lot of times at the big box stores, you guys are going there. Try my friend Stacy at Scrapmania because a lot of times she has it in stock. So I'm just kind of heating it. Oh, sorry, I guess I'm not showing that to you. Because then it doesn't fly off. And I'll show you a little corner here. I was holding that a little close to the paper. All right, are you ready? I'm going to show this. You might be able to see this. Let me get my heat tool on. I kind of heated it already, so I didn't really see a whole lot. But once I started heating it and it's nice and hot, it didn't fly off too much. My paper was pretty warm. So here is kind of why when I say it's a veil. You really don't see the color like you can see in here. But when you angle it in the light just right, you get that blue hint or the button blue. So this is one that's very fun to cover, like snowflakes. Snow would be really fun with this because you would get that. But look how pretty that is. I'm just kind of showing you in the light there. So let's cut this down. I'm just going to kind of cool it off a minute. And then I am going to go ahead and cut this pattern down because right on that edge, make sure that my paper's straight. Yeah, straight that direction. Straight that direction. So it was just kind of looking weird. Okay, we're going to go ahead and cut this down right on the edge, just because with that edge over there on that side, that way I still had my corner that lined up. So I must have just put that at just enough of an angle that when I cut it, it wasn't going to be, it cut a little more off the top. But now we've got this great background. Now you could go ahead and make a waffle cone background. Or I mean card base, but we're going to go ahead and see the white. Let's see what this looks like. All right, we need to cut a little more. because I didn't measure. You know, I was just cutting the pattern off. So let's cut a little bit more of this side off. And I would always prefer to cut a little bit and then go back and see if I like it. Now, I think I am going to go ahead and do the whole 4. There. The whole 4 off the side. So now we have a 4 by 5 1/4. Perfect. And it's still got that fun color for the dark to light. So let's get this put down. And we've got about 5 minutes here to kind of finish up. I think that this one seems like you could do a whole lot. This would be a very cute one to go with Theodore's quilt and have a little image of him covered up in the quilt and then color it with the same colors. This is the embossing powder of the month, the Button Blue, which you can buy, I think, on a one-off. I just always put it, this is the old containers. You get them in the envelopes. And then if you want, you can buy the containers like this to put them in. I just have some of the older containers left that I'm using, and I always put my embossing powders in because I would not be able to keep them in the envelopes. But the nice thing about having them in the envelopes, it helps save with the shipping costs because something like this is thicker and it so almost needs a box where the thin embossing powders can go in an envelope. Does that make sense? So Button Blue. All right. So I have this awesome thimble that well, actually, I'm going to use this one. This is from the stencil, the Stitched in Love. So let's get that, and I'm going to color it here quick. Let's see, with a color. We'll go over just a little bit. I'm sure you guys aren't going to mind. Stitched with Love. I'm just going to see if this looks... That's kind of the darker color, but I think I'm going to go with it. Okay. And color in, at least we'll color in the dark spots with it. You know, give the highlights here and there with the dark. That's the nice thing about having, you know, I can even color in some of the dots like that. Just for the color, and then go ahead and this was BG08. Not sure if this is the right color, but let's check and see. Yeah, it's a little bit lighter. Let's try this one, which is BG. This looks more like it might be this looks, oh, I just drew it on my dress. Oops, well, the Tropical Tango. So I'm going to go ahead and use that as my base coat. And I'm just going to really kind of just scrub the whole thing. Cover the whole thing because then it kind of matches. And you can just kind of scrub over those lines where it's the darker. Now I will say this, this is the first time I'm coloring on the waffle cone tonight. It does suck up the ink pretty quickly, so you don't have as much time to blend like if you were going to use the Perfect Blend, which you guys know is one of my favorites. And so I've got the thimble, and then there is a thimble stamp. And if you guys if you don't mind bearing with me here, I will, because I could have actually, you know what? Let's redo this quick. Let's color it with the white because we've got that white border. Let's see what the difference is. I think I said it was 08. Yeah. So let's go ahead and I'm just going to color in a little bit of and add just a little bit. Let's just see, because I have that white, so that way it ties in a little bit more with the white. Just going to put in a few of the dots with that. And then grab that B24 or BG 2.4. And this is the Perfect Blend. So I would say if you really want a nice blend when you have bigger, deeper colors like this, you know, you can do your tip to tip, but to color in with the light color first, and then it tends to blend a little bit nicer out. I'm not going to worry about it terribly much. Just because I also know if you go in circles a lot of times, you can get that harsh line, but I colored this time I didn't, the harsh line came from the design. So let's just see what happens if I color it out just a little bit with the next color down. Yep, just a little bit. And then we'll go ahead and 2.4 one more time, right over those colors. And then I do like that a little bit better because we have that white border. So, and now we need a sentiment. So the sentiment from the stamp set is, you've got me wrapped around your thimble. We are going to stamp that in the, craft, or not the craft, but the waffle cone. So I'm going to grab a piece of paper. I'm not finding a really big piece, so we're hopefully going to not, oh, there's one. This is one thing, if you ever got the Misty and you got these are perfect to stay for this piece, is to keep this and do my SVG trick here. You've got me wrapped around your thimble. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp that out. And we're going to use the black ink for now, just because. Then I've got my handy dandy little pieces of negative pieces that I always cut when I'm cutting around. And then I'm going to cut that and we're going to tape that down. And then I'm going to go ahead and stick it right in. And then a lot of times I will also put a little repositional tape on the inside. I'm not going to do that tonight. We're just going to go for it. Now I just stamped this for the first time. So I am, even though it's dirty, I'm running my fingers over it. Just to kind of, because it's the first time I'm really stamping this. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp it down in the black ink, just because I think I want it to stand out a little bit more than I do with the Tropical Tango or the Loch Ness. Sometimes I can't remember what colors I was using. Perfect. And I'll go ahead and just pull that up. I'm going to leave that right in place because I have some more cut out that I can stamp, so I have more sentiments. Since I already have them laid out, I might as well stamp those out. You've got me wrapped around your thimble. And then we'll just kind of tuck our thimble in underneath. Like that. Okay. So let's go ahead and glue this down. Oh, Amanda, it's, if you're going to go through the process of the SVGs and stamp, cut some out, cut more than one, because you can let your machine cut while you're doing other items. Now I will say the waffle cone has a little bit of texture to it. So my mat is a little, it needs more stick to it. And so it kind of warped away. So I had to stay kind of close to it so it wouldn't like move on me. But usually I have no issues with that. I think tonight I need a little bit more stick to my mat. And so it didn't like the texture from that. And I'm just going to peel this up a little bit and tuck it right underneath. But stamp more than one. So you've got me wrapped around your thimble. I mean, look, it's a quick, simple, fast card, but in an hour, since I talked for a few minutes at the beginning, we made 3 cards from start to finish using the subscription products and things from the inspiration box. So, Amanda, it's very helpful. That's what I have too, is a Joy Extra. That's my favorite thing. It's right behind me. So, I want to thank you guys for joining me this evening. I hope you like this. Please give me a thumbs up, considering heading over to my channel, Candi V Sugar Cards, and subscribing, because I will have some things coming in the new year on my channel that are extra. And I mean, I'll still be going live, of course, but I hope you guys have a fabulous weekend, and I will see you next weekend. And oh, thanks, Mama. And we will see what else we can cook up. Good night, everyone.